Alright guys, and welcome back to Scotty Knows. Today we have a special project here in the Honda garage. Naturally, I don't have a Honda in here, got a Chevy, the Trailblazer. I'll get to that in a second, but I've been kind of busy working on the Honda garage. I got a lot of spackling to do, not much more to do. However, my piece came in for the Trailblazer and I want to kind of knock that out to avoid a core charge. So I'll take you on a little tour of that. As you can see, I do have my 2007 Trailblazer in here. I got it all lifted up on jack stands already. So we're ready to go. I got some lighting here. I got it from my father's garage. So I got my lighting, some of my tools back here so I can work on this thing. But the issue that I'm having with the Trailblazer here is the fact that the third and fourth gear is gone. I think the torque converter's starting to go. I know a while back I actually started to work on the transmission. However, I finally lost the third and fourth gear. So I think the torque converter is starting to go, so I bit the bullet and got myself a new project here. So what I have in here is a new transmission. So the process in this is I got to remove the transmission from here and actually send it back for the core charge. So I'm on a little bit of a time crunch, so I need to go ahead and get this thing out. I got about 2 weeks to be able to send this thing back, so it should be more than enough time. So we're going to pop under here and get this thing going. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually remove the battery. Well, not take out the battery, but disconnect the battery here. Because we're going to take the starter out and disconnect a bunch of things. I'm not going to get it all done here in one night, but hopefully we'll make some progress here and get some things moving here. Have it out here in the next day or so. So, now that I have the battery disconnected here, we'll go ahead and move under the car and get the starter out. Alright, the next we're going to go ahead and take off the wheels. Making sure that we keep everything together. Alright, so guys, we're underneath the car now. We're actually going to remove these transmission mount bolts, which are actually located in here. They are 15 millimeters, probably hard to see. Maybe you can see up in there. So 15 millimeter bolts, and then we're going to have to remove these as well, so we'll go ahead and hop on that. Make sure you get both sides, all 15 millimeters. And just make sure you mark your bolts, label them, put them in a bag, let them know what's for the cross member, and then that way you know back where they go. So next is to loosen up this little canister thing here. It's actually held on by 3 bolts, and we'll go ahead and knock those off here, and that way we'll be able to move this thing kind of out of the way. So let me get my socket for that. So we'll remove these with a 13 millimeter. kind of awkward on the handle position. Now this is loose, should be able to kind of move that out of the way. We're going to have to get to these bolts here, which I do believe they are 18, so you need to have a wrench over here, and then there's some bolts on the back side we'll have to get off, so we'll try to get those out. One. Always put that back on. That was a little bit more difficult. I'm gonna grab my other impact with a longer extension. Let's get that thing out. You know that we got the one side off. We're gonna go ahead and get the other side, which are these two bolts right underneath the exhaust. We'll put the 18 on the bolts over here to get that off. So let's go ahead and get that off. And now we'll get the other side. And be careful. This thing will fall on your head. So next we're going to remove this bracket here, and we'll go ahead and put these back on so I don't lose these. I have to kind of reinstall things so I know where to find them next time. I don't have to lose them. So, but these bolts here are actually 15s, so we'll go ahead and get this in. One. And two. Alright, so there's also a little clip up here to get this bracket off. This should just slide off the exhaust, and we should be able to get this bracket out, so let's try it. Alright, so I got this bracket out, this mount. It kind of pinches up in between here, so I had to kind of use my pry bar, get it there, kind of push it backwards, and it kind of wiggle it, and it finally popped off. It took a couple minutes to get it off, but I was able to get it off, so let's move on to the next step. Alright, so next we're going to take this out. Drive shaft, 7/16 bolts, there's 4 of them. And then we should be able to come back here and pry it off right about here. So let me get my extension, my socket, and we'll get to getting it off. Comes off with these little brackets. Go ahead and spin it. The other side. Get a little bit more power. Bertha gets it every time. So just make sure you keep all your bolts and your clamps here together. And now we'll move back to the back and see if we can remove the different. Alright, so this thing, just get a pry bar, get it up in there, just kind of force it off, and it does come off. So this, you just kind of want to get out of the way. And now we're going to move to the back side to see if we can slide that off. And this side should just slide off. May need to use my pry bar. So next we're going to tackle this. This here should just slide off. Maybe. There we go. And this side here actually has like a little U-clip that kind of goes up in between these little tabs, and then you'll press these tabs and this thing should fall out. So I'm going to try to get this thing out. Hopefully it doesn't break. There we go. Make sure you don't lose it. And these tabs should push through and it comes down. And then we'll go ahead and slide that out of the way so it doesn't get in our way. So next, on the other side of the transmission pan here, there's a couple heat shield bolts. One here, one up here, kind of right next to the exhaust. This should be 13 millimeters. So I'll go ahead and grab those, take those off. got them on there pretty tight. Gotta loosen the other side a little bit more. Alright. Alright guys, so next we're going to go ahead and drain this pan. There's, I believe, 16 13mm bolts around. What I'm going to do is take off the front here, since that's a deeper part, see if I can drop that a little bit. I'm going to loosen them all except for maybe a couple in the back here, and see if I can drain it without making a huge mess. So I got some cardboard laid down, my drain pan, so hopefully I can get to it and not have any problems. So let's get going. Alright, I had to turn the fan off first so I didn't blow everything in my face. I'm going to try to get to this hole on the other side. If I can see it. Alright, so next, since we got the pan back on, got that drain, made a little bit of mess. I actually had to change my shirt. We're going to pop off this cover here. We're gonna pop this little rubber gasket seal out thing. I just have to get some those pliers to get that. We'll get that in a minute. On the back side here too, I don't know if you can see up here, this needs to come out so we can access the torque converter bolts. So that should be glued in. Should be able to pop that out. I need to grab my little clip tool. So let me grab that. We'll get the those pliers, get this out as well as this. So let me get my tool. Alright, so might be kind of difficult to see, but I got this hole out here. It's actually a 15mm bolt. I believe to be 3 of them. So we're going to spin this around so I get the bolt to come out here, and then we'll go ahead and take that out. There's 3 of them. They're a little tight, so I got to use my little mini torque wrench or my little breaker bar. So we'll go ahead and crack those loose. I'll do that, and then I'll get right back with you. So there's 3. Just make sure that you're spinning this around, maybe with a little tool here, and then you can get those out. All right, now so we're gonna remove the rear drive shaft, 7/16 like the front. Typically, if you have it in neutral, you should be able to spin it, but I unplugged the battery, so it's not going to go in neutral. So, I have to do this by hand. So. Kind of a pain back here. I don't think I got it high enough. So I'm gonna have to find a way to get it neutral. So I do have a 7/16 wrench here. And see if I can get it loose. There we go. Couldn't get my socket on there. Luckily I got a bunch of random tools in the garage. So we'll loosen this up and get this off. Got one side, I'll get the other. Got that one. I should be able to pry this off. It's on there pretty good. Just put some WD-40s probably welded on there. So let me put that loose. Alright, so this thing is a beast. I ended up having to use some PB Blaster and just tap on the back with my little 3-pound sledgehammer. So I was able to get that thing out. So this thing should pop off. It's also the product of a vehicle that's been on a farm for a while. So this pops out. Spin it around. Let me get you some more lighting. It should come out here. Let's see if I can slide it out. So let me get a better position. This should just slide out. Set that to the side. And now what I'm going to do is get the wire harness off here. The little white and black clip there that connects to the transmission wire harness. And I think there's another little clip up there I'll remove up there. But before I did that, I wanted to show it on camera, but I removed this little harness here, which actually a little blue tab pops out, and then this little piece slides out. It actually goes up over here. Kind of hard to see, but I was able to get that out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this wire harness out and see what I can do. Alright guys, so here we are. We're moving to the transfer case. We're gonna go ahead and try to knock this thing out and get this thing off here. And most likely we'll be leaking some fluid, so I have placed my drip pan underneath of the area here where it releases from the transmission itself. So there's a few more things we got to do before we can take those bolts out. One being is that we do have a clip up here. We got to take this off, which should be pretty easy. We also got the little clip that is attached to the transmission. We'll go ahead and knock that out. There is, might be hard to see, a vent tube up top here, as well as another connector. I guess might be the speed sensor here, I'm not too sure. Located right up top here. So we'll go ahead and get that off, and then we'll move to removing these bolts and getting this differential off. So let's get that moving. Alright, so I got all these loose here. This connection. There's another connection behind here. This is a little tricky to get to. The clip's actually in the back side. so you got to get behind there to get that off. As well as we got this loose off this little mount here. There's also up top here, we got this sensor here connecting. On top we have the vent tube that connects to the pipe right here. Right there, you can see that. As well as we have another sensor on this side here connecting in to the side. So all those will come out, and now I believe we are ready to remove the differential. And they are 5 15mm bolts. And the differential is out. Looks like it has like a little paper gasket here. I might see if I can find another one of those. Probably a good idea. Clean this up a little bit before I put it back on. Definitely gonna get all these dirt and debris off. Make sure all the connections are good. So next we're gonna move to the transmission. Should be a few bolts to get that out and we'll get that rolling. Alright guys, so we got the transfer case off. In between these takes I went ahead and ordered another gasket and some extra differential fluid. However, right now I got to get the transmission cooler lines off, which are actually located right inside. Let's see if I get a better angle for you guys. Located right here. There's two of them. There's two little metal clips on. We'll pop those out and then hopefully I can grab these things and get them off pretty good. So I'll go ahead and tackle that real quick and be right back with you. Alright guys, and welcome back to Scotty Knows. So the good news is, and after shedding a little bit of blood for the car guides, I got the transmission out. It is the first time I've actually ever removed a transmission of this magnitude. A little bit of Hondas here and there, but for the most part I got everything out. Well, I got everything out. So I got the differential here. And unfortunately I didn't film actually getting the transmission out. It was actually kind of a pain in the butt. Here's the new transmission. And there are 11 bolts. And I'll tell you guys, this top two bolts here were probably the most pain. You actually have to fish inside. And I'll post a video below on the link that I use to follow. So it's a little congested in my garage. Again, I'm trying to work in here and get things done at the same time. I got my Honda motor here. Then I got the old transmission. Did make a little bit of a mess here as I was trying to put everything in. But the old transmission, got it all strapped in, ready to ship back. So actually I got this from Street Smart Transmission. Give them a little shout out, although I'm not sponsored. But I'll take you into the car real quick and show you kind of what I was working on. Alright, so let me go up under the car here for you. I was able to get a little bit more room. I had a buddy come by and actually help me to remove the transmission. The lift I have, which is the jegs here, I actually got that the day before I removed the transmission. And the funny thing is, they only shipped it with 3 wheels. So I used a 2x4, screwed it to the top, and was able to move it. Probably not the best lift for this application, but it seemed to do the trick. So here's inside. There's 11 bolts, as you can see. See if I can get it a little bit closer. So you got 2 bottom bolts. I'd say for the most part they're pretty accessible. Minus the top 2 bolts, which are way up top. So you actually have to hit it with like a 3-foot extension from back here in the tub. And lighting is very terrible, so hopefully when I get the new transmission in, I can get that bracket in there. That goes on the outside. But everything seems to be pretty good. I'll double check on this this flywheel here to make sure all the teeth are still there and there's no damage to that. I do got new cooler lines. And then I'll check everything out. Now one thing I was noticing while I was down here, I'll take you guys along with me. These fuel lines are pretty warm. Got a little bit of surface rust throughout, mainly right in this area here. So I'm thinking about replacing those lines. So I'll see how hard that would be. It's only about $100 or so to get those lines. And it might be easier to do it while I got it out, the transmission out. But we'll see about that. I'll do some more research on that. But I appreciate you guys watching Scotty Knows. I do apologize again about not showing the removal of the transmission, though I will show the installation of the transmission. So once I figure out what I'm going to do with these fuel lines, I'll bring you guys on that journey with me. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Again, this is the first time I ever taken out a transmission, especially out of a full-size vehicle. So hopefully you guys find something of value in this video. Please like, subscribe, support your boy. Hopefully I can make some better content for you guys and show you the journey of my ability to work on cars. So appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, and leave your comments below.